thrilled for another edition of Inside Seminole Basketball. I'm Jack Kavovit, filling in for the voice of the Noles tonight, Jeff Colhane. But don't worry, we got a great program, a great show in store for you tonight. You'll hear from Taylor Bowen later on, a special guest as well, Coach, a lot more, so don't want to miss it. But hey, without further ado, let's get a round of applause for your Hall of Fame coach of the Noles, Leonard Hamilton.
Wow.
Is it all right?
Oh,
trying to hold up to the bar that Jeff sets every week. So.
Well, this time of year though, we are focusing on trying to win games.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate those nice words. But we in the middle of a very important period for us to get focused, and let's see whether or not we can do something that people don't necessarily believe that we're capable of doing. Our guys were really focused in practice today. I love their attitude. They seem to be extremely focused and coming together with tremendous effort and focus and conversation going on. So I'm kind of excited as to where we are at this point with the mindset that our players seem to be going with. So that's what we're concentrating on in right now.
Yeah, a little bit of magic maybe, right, Coach? You always see that around this time of the year. A little bit of a break right now, right, since their last game versus Notre Dame, almost a week off. How was that feeling? You're mentioning practice has been pretty good, but getting that little bit more time off.
Well, it's always interesting to me when you guys start talking about a break, okay, because we still working.
Yeah.
I think we had Sunday off.
Yeah.
But business as usual. It did give us an opportunity to back up a little bit on some of the guys that had little nicks to their bodies, turn ankle here, and obviously Taylor was recovering from a concussion. Jerry's still recovering from an ankle turn, and Davis is trying to mend up from another ankle turn and a bad fall on his back. So this could not have come at a better time for us.
Awesome. Well, now, Coach, we want to go into our truest hero of the game segment. When you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable, so start feeling like it today. Visit truist.com/care. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Truist Bank, member FDIC. Well, Coach, obviously, we just talked about the game last week, so we're going to talk about the last two games. Our truest hero of the game is your freshman, A.J. Swin. He's been fantastic over the last two, scoring 19 points in those two games. What have you liked from what you've seen from how your freshman's been growing this season?
Well, I thought all along that A.J. would be a guy that would really be something for our fans to get behind, because he has such a great attitude. He's athletic, he's big, he's strong, and he's focused all the time. You know exactly what you're going to get from A.J. because he gives you tremendous effort. He only knows one gear, and he demonstrates that every day in practice, but he's going through that period of development that most freshmen go through. And sometimes when you surround freshmen with experienced players, you don't realize some of the areas where they need improvement. But with our freshmen this year, we still are on the learning curve. And AJ's had struggled with a couple injuries here and there, but I just love his attitude, and I think people are going to be very pleased with the progress he's made and how well he's going to perform down the stretch.
Yeah, you mentioned some of those experienced players. How do those players for you, Coach, like a Jameer Watkins or a Chandler Jackson, maybe help those younger guys and newcomers get adjusted?
Well, we have one really experienced player, and that's in Chandler. He's the only one who's been with us 3 years. Everyone else is they're first and second year players. So, we're always in a learning mode, a teaching mode, a development mode, and that's kind of who we have been this year. Some things that we normally are really, really in sync on in February, we're still teaching and growing. But that's who we are. It's a new version of college athletics. We all are going through the same thing. But right now, we lock in on finishing strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned, right, it's new territory, 10 newcomers on this team. Coach, for the type of system that you like to play, how have you seen these guys, maybe not just this year, but over your time, get acclimated to the system and playing in college basketball?
Well, it has not necessarily been as challenging in the past as it has been this year because I've said many times our juniors and seniors were freshmen and sophomores. And so there's a teaching method go along with bringing that level of experience back. Well, we have one junior, and Jameer is a sophomore, but it's his second year in our program, and we've gotten spoiled as coaches because we've had so much experience around us. And even if they were not great contributors, they help teach the new players, our system. This year has been teach, develop, teach again, correct, and without having those experienced guys around, and that's why it's been a little challenging. But we should be a lot better now going down the stretch, and that's what I'm hopeful of.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's stick with some of the newcomers as well, Coach. Another freshman, Daquan Davis, a guy that you've said has got that it factor, right? If you've seen him play, you certainly see it when he's out there on the floor. How is his voice growing over his freshman season?
Well, he's extremely confident, and he plays that way. He's a youngster that will grow and develop. But when you come in with the level of confidence and you believe in yourself and you have that innate ability to give all you have all the time. He's another youngster that only knows one gear, but mistakes does not bother him. He'll make a mistake, he'll bounce right back from it. He'll forget it. Some guys are not mature enough to handle that. They make a mistake, they feel like they let you down, and while they're moaning, so to speak, or moping, I guess whatever it is, that sometimes they don't bounce back as quick. Daquan is not one of those guys. If he makes a turnover, he's still going to try to do the same thing the next time, and that's what you like to see in young players. And you'll see that their effort is consistent, and they believe in themselves, and they can play through mistakes.
Yeah, you really see it when you watch Daquan every game. Like the confidence has certainly been building and growing for him, Coach. Not a freshman this time. How about a transfer as well? Jerry Dang got a little banged up against Boston College, but was going to start that game and fill in for Taylor Bowen. How have you seen his game grow here in his time in Tallahassee?
Jerry is a youngster that's extremely bought in. He's in sync regardless of what goes on during the game. He's trying to allow himself to be coachable. And we all know that he's a tremendous shooter. But he's more of a standing shooter right now, so which means that he needs the offense to flow. And he needs ball movement, ball reversals, screen set for him to create those opportunities for him to have those high percentage shots. And he's bought in. He has a great voice in the huddle, in the film room, on the court doing practice, and he's a guy who I think as he moves through his career, he's going to be a tremendous leader for us.
Yeah, absolutely. When you see a lot of these guys, whether they're freshmen or newcomers into your program, is there anything specifically that they do as they come in, maybe play some limited minutes, and that starts to grow, that they do that you see on the floor that you can see that growth coming to happen?
Well, we always like to define our roles when we let their performance define their roles. But when you're learning, you don't quite have the confidence, to play at your best because you're always thinking and you're a little bit hesitant as opposed to playing by instincts. And we've had a lot of that this year, a lot of thinking going on, a couple of mishaps here and a lack of screen there. But that's part of growing and development when you go to college and into a sport like basketball in the ACC, where the competition is tremendous night in and night out. And but when you're a competitor, and I think our guys are, it seems as though they have grown and matured to this point where I think hopefully going on the road against a team like Wake Forest, who has been the only team that has gone on the West Coast and won both games. So that tells you a little bit about their maturity. They have a fifth-year guy. They have several fourth-year guys and juniors on their teams. They're a much more mature team than most of the teams in the ACC.
Yeah, we'll touch on that game a little bit more later on into the show. Also, Inside Seminole Basketball is brought to you in part by ABC 27. Get free local news and weather 24/7. Just search WTXL on your favorite streaming device and watch local news and weather on your time. So much more to come. As I've said, on the other side, we'll talk about the defense for the Seminoles and more to come with Lemon Hamilton when we return.
Welcome to Truist, the bank that starts with care, and the student banking partner of Florida State University. And now, Truist is the official retail bank of Florida State Athletics. They're proud to join a passionate fan base, empower our student athletes, and to support our community. Because when you start with care, you get a different kind of bank and a different kind of partnership. Thank you, Truist. for this exciting partnership with Florida State Athletics.
Around here, there's an undeniable spirit. It's like it's always been there. You just feel it. It energizes. It connects. It grows at every intersection in its path. And when met with our passion to win, well, it can be downright powerful. At Scott & Wallace, it's this spirit that fuels us. Scott & Wallace, the official law firm of the Florida State Seminole.
Florida, home to pristine beaches, unique dining experiences, world-class accommodations, and the thrills that keep the young and young at heart coming back to the Sunshine State. From coast to coast, see what our 10,000 members of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association have been preparing for you. Exceptional eats, historic sites, and lodging to fit any budget. So whether you're here making deals or making memories, come get a flavor for Florida's finest restaurants.
Hey, Seminole fans, this is Jeff Culhane, voice of Florida State men's basketball. Are you tired of sleeping hot? I was too. ChiliPad has a solution for that. ChiliPad works with your existing mattress. It's a temperature-regulated, water-based mattress topper that precisely controls your bed temperature from 55 degrees to 115 degrees. Who wouldn't want to have that at night? Visit www.sleep.me/Seminoles and see why ChiliPad bed cooling systems are the official bed cooling partner of Florida State Athletics. That's sleep.me/
Welcome back in. Glory Days Grill inside Seminole basketball. A beautiful Monday night here in Tallahassee of course, with head coach Leonard Hamilton. It's now time, Coach. Let's talk about a little bit of defense, right? With your team this year, your Knoll squad first in the ACC in steals per game, blocks per game, also turnovers forced per game. How have you liked what you've seen from your team defensively, how they've also grown through this year?
Well, we've developed the mentality to excel in certain areas, and that's because of our length. We have long arms, and shut down a lot of passing lanes, and so that means that our guys are concentrating in those areas. So we want to continue to keep getting those deflections, keep getting those steals, getting those stops, because they lead to easier basket opportunities. When you have what you call live basketball turnovers, when the game is moving, as opposed to sometimes when you get a steal and you have to walk the ball down the court. Those live ones give you an opportunity to get out and basket and get out and get in transition. Secondly, we try to get 8 kills every game. That's 3 stops in a row, eight different times, and you win probably close to 97% of all your games when you get 8 kills. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we have a lot of what we call 2 stops in a row, and but if you don't get 3 in a row, that doesn't give you an opportunity to take advantage of those stops from an offensive standpoint. But I think we got a lot of room for development in those areas, even though we've excelled in those categories. That fundamentally we have about 9 different things that we grade every game from a defensive standpoint each player gets a grade on each game. And we have not been as high as I would like for us to be. We have 9 different things that we grade, and if we are 70% accurate, efficient in those fundamental things that we chart, we've won 95% of our games for the last 30 years.
Wow.
So we know it works, but we've been a little down. We have, even though we've statistically, we've excelled, but those fundamental things that makes the difference in whether or not you win or lose games, we have not been as consistent with.
Yeah, I got to tell you, even for myself up here, and I can imagine for any basketball fan, it's amazing, great to hear you talk about this philosophy that you have, especially on the defensive side of the ball, Coach. And tell me how that's maybe molded, not just this year, but just over the course of your career in creating the defense that you have.
Well, I was very fortunate to go to my very first job was with a guy named Lake Kelly, the late Lake Kelly, who was a head coach at Austin Peay. And he was just a defensive disciple of Bobby Knight, and he got a lot of his ideas from Bobby Knight, and then he added his own experiences and his own ideas to the defensive philosophy. And there I was, my first year out of college working with a guy who was basically, I think he was a basketball genius, and he was so detailed, and he taught his defensive philosophy, patiently, and he created drills that would allow them to learn through repetition and gain the confidence over and over and over. So I was very fortunate and to work with a guy like that early. Then I had a chance to go to Kentucky, and I was very fortunate once again for Coach Hall there to allow me to have some say as to how we were playing defense. It's been something that I've enjoyed all along. Even as a youngster playing ball, I think I was the defensive player of the year on every team I played on. I just love that part of it, but in reality, that's what wins games for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Coach, I would imagine when it came time to find a coach for your staff to embody that defensive philosophy, you had a certain guy in mind. Stan Jones now has been with you for 28 years across 3 different programs. Talk about how you hired him and what he's meant to you on your staff.
Well, he's the second person he's the second person I've been with the longest other than my wife. So I've been with her long, and then Stan's number 2. But Stan was a high school coach in Jackson, Mississippi, being extremely successful. And I wanted to hire a person for that position that they called back in the day, what they say, yes, did he? Anyway, back in the day, it was what they call part-time assistant. And so we could hire him where he couldn't travel on the road at that position. And I was very specific as to who I wanted to hire and what type of coach I wanted to hire. I wanted to hire someone who was detailed and patient that could teach the fundamentals of the game, and I could not be happier with the association we've had over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, he's been with you for so long, 29 of your last 28 years together. Pretty incredible stuff right there. But, Coach, let's look a little bit ahead now to your upcoming game. You touched on it a little bit before. Wake Forest, it leads us to our Scott and Wallace keys to success. Scott and Wallace, the official injury lures of Florida State Athletics. Scott and Wallace with offices in Tallahassee. On the road to take on a good Wake Forest team, 10-3 in the ACC this year, 4th in conference. And they're running a 3-game win streak right now, right? So you got to get a little momentum. What are your keys to come away on the road with a big win in conference?
Well, it's a secret. No, not serious. I'm serious. To be serious, they play extremely hard. So obviously we have to match or exceed their enthusiasm and the energy that they play with. They average not 70 points, so it's not a lot of points, but they execute very well in the half court. They really get the ball to the right players. They have 5 guys on the floor in all 5 positions that are capable of going off for double-figure points in any game. Defensively is where they hang their hat. They've done a very good job with how they have built their defense, and it's very sound fundamentally. They shrink the gaps and don't let you drive very much. So if you're not moving the ball and making quick decisions, with the ball, then you get yourself in trouble. We tell our players they have 0.5 seconds to make a decision after they catch the ball. You either pass it, shoot it, or drive it. And sometimes we have not been as efficient in those areas because sometimes we hold the ball a little bit too much and let the defense reset. So what we're going to be emphasizing in this particular game, ball movement, player movement, setting screens, using screens, aggressively driving to the basket. That's because if you don't, their defense has been so consistent that if you don't move the ball against them, you can end up what I call butting your head up against concrete, and that's the way they play. They do a very good job of defending the area of the floor.
No, absolutely. It's going to be a good game, that's for sure. Hopefully to make it 2 in a row for the Noles. Want to let you know again, Inside Seminole Basketball is brought to you in part by SV Vodka, introducing the official vodka of Florida State Athletics. SV Vodka, crafted for a smooth taste. SV Vodka is 100% vegan and perfect for those who value purity in every sip. Experience the unique blend of tradition and innovation with SV Vodka, the official vodka of Florida State Athletics. Well, Coach, we've been starting this over the last couple of weeks now. We're going to take a peek back at one of your old teams. This time will be the 2019-2020 squad. We'll hear your thoughts on that team and show some highlights and much more to come here on Inside Seminole Basketball.
Welcome to Truist, the bank that starts with care and the student banking partner of Florida State University. And now, Truist is the official retail bank of Florida State Athletics. They're proud to join a passionate fan base, empower our student athletes, and to support our community. Because when you start with care, you get a different kind of bank and a different kind of partnership. Thank you, Truist, for this exciting partnership with Florida State Athletics.
Around here, there's an undeniable spirit. It's like it's always been there. You just feel it. It energizes. It connects. It grows at every intersection in its path. And when met with our passion to win, well, it can be downright powerful. At Scott & Wallace, it's this spirit that fuels us. Scott & Wallace, the official law firm of the Florida State Seminole.
Florida, home to pristine beaches, unique dining experiences, world-class accommodations, and the thrills that keep the young and young at heart coming back to the Sunshine State. From coast to coast, see what our 10,000 members of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association have been preparing for you. Exceptional eats, historic sites, and lodging to fit any budget. So whether you're here making deals or making memories, come get a flavor for Florida's finest restaurants and
Hey, Seminole fans, this is Jeff Culhane, voice of Florida State men's basketball. Are you tired of sleeping hot? I was too. ChiliPad has a solution for that. ChiliPad works with your existing mattress. It's a temperature-regulated, water-based mattress topper that precisely controls your bed temperature from 55 degrees to 115 degrees. Who wouldn't want to have that at night? Visit www.sleep.me/Seminoles and see why ChiliPad bed cooling systems are the official bed cooling partner of Florida State Athletics. That's sleep.me/.
Back here at Glory Days Grill, and a big thanks to Ava and Madison from the FSU Cheer Squad welcoming us back into Glory Days Grill and inside Seminole basketball. Thank you so much, ladies. And now, Coach, into our third segment. Like we just saw the tease, you might have saw a dunk right there. Your 2019-2020 team, remembered as one of the most special teams you've had at Florida State. Regular season championship, 26-4 record. Finished ranked number 4 in the AP poll. When you think back to that team, what's maybe one of the first things that comes to mind?
I thought that team had a tremendous unselfish spirit. They shared the ball. They shared playing time. They really played so hard that many times they actually come out of the game and get a breather. But they were extremely confident that whoever went in for them would be the kind of people that would represent them. They would get tired and just want us to come back in. It was a team that was fun to coach. Every day was important. We had a good balance, inside and outside skills, and that's one of my favorite teams of all time.
Yeah, and we're joking here in the break. Reading through the roster, it's just name after name after name for you here at Florida State. Devin Vassell, Trent Forrest. You talk about Raquan Evans, Raquan Gray, Malik Osborne, MJ Walker, Patrick Williams. I could keep going and going. I mean, you just kind of mentioned it right there. You hear those group of guys, what makes them such an elite group that they were?
Well, they came together. We were very fortunate to have the right combination of guys that fit.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so important that you have guys who mentally and emotionally fit the way you want to play. You know, sometimes it's hard when guys come from certain programs and with certain goals that they have. Those guys had team goals. I don't remember having any types of challenges or issues with those guys. They enjoyed each other. They came to practice hard. And if I remember correctly, several of those guys had been redshirted. And I know Raquan Gray didn't play as a freshman. He had a few LBs that he had to lose, but he finished his career in fine fashion, and he's playing very well in Europe now. We expect him to be back in the NBA here pretty soon.
Yeah, Coach. During that season, of course, I just said the record, and you finished 26-4. I want to focus on two different games, both versus Louisville on the road and at home. I want to start on the road. At the time, the Cardinals were ranked 7th in the country. Your team was 18th. You came into that game, a huge victory, 78-65. And I think something from that game that maybe speaks to that team, Patrick Williams. He played 24 minutes. He had 0 points in that game, and you still came away with the win. What does that tell you about what this group was?
No one noticed it, and if you hadn't mentioned it, I never would have remembered the fact that he didn't score in that game. But he always gave you good defensive effort. He blocked shots, and he didn't complain, and he bounced back. That was a stat that I was not aware of. But I thought in the game in Louisville, it was all about defense, picking up 94 feet. We sped them up. We overplayed. They had in their system, when they threw the ball to the left elbow, they ran 7 plays, 7 different ones. And when they threw it to the right elbow, they ran 8 different plays. And our guys were so determined that we didn't allow the ball to get to any one of those elbows, so it took a lot of what they normally like to do out of the game plan. And we were extremely aggressive on the perimeter to the point where we were really playing with so much energy. We got deflections and steals, and we made them rush. We rushed them, and they were a little uncomfortable. And that had a lot to do with the outcome of the game.
And do you feel like that game, trying to think back, a top 10 win on the road, did that feel like maybe a turning point in that season, or is there any moment in particular that was for you in that year?
Now, I can sit here and give you some philosophical stuff and make you think that I'm really can reach back and remember everything I was thinking during that game. To be honest with you, I was just glad for the victory, and we moved on to another game. Yeah. I wasn't sitting there trying to say, so I didn't have a theory, about how much that game meant and how much effect he had on someone else. You don't have the luxury of doing anything other than playing that game and then enjoying the moment, coming back and start preparing for the next game. Yeah. But then when I do remember when we came back to to Tallahassee, the gym was packed, and it was a very exciting game, and it was nip and tuck there just about the whole game until a point there late in the game, and we had a couple of steals, 2 or 3 in a row, made a couple of plays, and I thought that we broke the game open. And I remember the tuck being so loud for that particular game that we had a really good feeling, and it gave us the momentum to finish very strong.
Yeah, you talk about against Louisville at home. I think one of the moments that's so memorable for so many Seminole fans was the dunk by Trent Forrest in that game. And I've heard so many people tell me that that's the loudest that they've heard the tuck. You can see the video right there of that dunk. Oh my goodness, even watching it back right now. Coach, what was your reaction from the sidelines? And if you could think back just how loud that place was from that moment right there.
Well, the thing that I remember about the dunk is the emotions that Trent displayed after he made the dunk. If you know Trent, he's very soft-spoken, easygoing, but he was excited, and that represented the attitude of that team. You know, they wanted it, and they didn't mind expressing themselves and letting you know how much it meant to them. And that's a unique quality of a team when they're excited in every possession of every game, and that team had that quality. You know, Trent was not loud and boisterous, but when he spoke, everybody listened. Yeah. And because he was such a quality guy, and he was all about the right things.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do know that he's the winningest program and winningest player in the history of FSU basketball.
Absolutely.
He's won more games than anybody in the history of our program in over a 4-year period.
And led 3 NCAA tournaments and ACC championship game in 2019. We may have a surprise, by the way, with Trent Forrest. Want to let you know, though, first, Inside Seminole Basketball is also brought to you in part by the Seminole Boosters. Did you know that FSU Athletics is self-supported and isn't funded by tax dollars? Because of this, we rely on fans to join Seminole Boosters so your teams have the best possible chance to achieve success on and off the court. Seminole Booster membership starts at $5 per month and comes with great membership benefits. Go online to SeminoleBoosters.com to learn more or join. That's SeminoleBoosters.com. Well, I don't know if you got the hint at all, Coach, but we got a special guest joining us over the phone on the other side of the next segment. You'll find out who that is on the other side. This is Inside Seminole Basketball at Glory Days Grill.
Welcome to Truist, the bank that starts with care and the student banking partner of Florida State University. And now, Truist is the official retail bank of Florida State Athletics. They're proud to join a passionate fan base, empower our student athletes, and to support our community. Because when you start with care, you get a different kind of bank and a different kind of partnership. Thank you, Truist, for this exciting partnership with Florida State Athletics.
Around here, there's an undeniable spirit. It's like it's always been there. You just feel it. It energizes. It connects. It grows at every intersection in its path. And when met with our passion to win, well, it can be downright powerful. At Scott & Wallace, it's this spirit that fuels us. Scott & Wallace, the official law firm of the Florida State Seminole.
Florida, home to pristine beaches, unique dining experiences, world-class accommodations, and the thrills that keep the young and young at heart coming back to the Sunshine State. From coast to coast, see what our 10,000 members of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association have been preparing for you. Exceptional eats, historic sites, and lodging to fit any budget. So whether you're here making deals or making memories, come get a flavor for Florida's finest restaurants and hotels.
All right, back here for Inside Seminole Basketball. Jack Kavovit, head coach Leonard Hamilton. Now time to hear from someone that we have on the line currently right now. He helped lead the Seminoles to 3 NCAA tournaments, including the 2019 ACC Championship. And as you might have just heard Coach say, oh yeah, also the all-time winningest player in Florida State history. Without further ado, let's give it up for Trent Forrest. Trent, say hi to Glory Days Grill here in Tallahassee right now. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can y'all hear me?
We absolutely can, Coach. You heard him too.
Man, he's all the way around the world, isn't he? Tell everybody where you are, Trent.
Right now I'm in Victoria, Spain.
Wow.
What time is it over there?
1:36 in the morning.
Burning the midnight oil right now for us, Trent. Well, hey, we appreciate you joining us. I don't know if you were able to just see, but in our last segment, we just showed maybe one of the best plays over quite some time here at Florida State. Your dunk at home versus Louisville. I want to get your reaction to that play, and if you just kind of heard your head coach talk about what he felt from the sidelines.
Yeah, I mean, that was a play we had always worked on. And honestly, I really didn't even think I was going to get the ball, and I didn't know MJ had seen me. But, I mean, it was really a good pass from him. And then, I mean, once I got the ball, I mean, everything after that was, what it was. So, I mean, it was definitely, just a big play for us. And, I mean, definitely probably my favorite play of my college career for sure.
Coach said he liked your reaction after it, too, as well.
No doubt about that. He demonstrated some excitement. One of the things I remember about Trent the most was that I normally like to try to give him some rest at certain times during the game. And against Carolina, he played 18 minutes in the first half. And as I'm watching the film, he's coming off the court and he drops to his knees in front of our bench at the free throw line. So I don't know he's exhausted. We playing against Carolina. I'm back in the locker room. I don't even know he's not in the locker room. He's in there getting the IV. And I asked him, I didn't realize I had worn him out in the first half. Trent, do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. That was a rough one for sure, trying to play 18 or 20 minutes, especially with how we played. Well, I couldn't even walk off the court hardly.
But that said a lot about him being the kind of competitor that he was. He didn't complain. Somebody had gotten in foul trouble or something, and I didn't have the right rotation. But that still was a lot about what his character was about. He just wanted to do whatever we could to win the game, and that's what he's been his entire life, in his experience at Florida State. He was just a warrior, a great Seminole. His family rich with tradition with the Seminoles, and I really enjoyed him for 4 years. And he was one of the finest athletes and final leaders that we had on our team that we've had in the history of our program. So I appreciate you being on here, buddy. Don't say anything bad about me now.
Nah, not at all.
Hey, Trent, one for you.
Nah,
Any memorable moments from your time here with your former head coach?
I mean, if I did, it would be too many to tell. But no, I mean, he definitely gives some great speeches for sure. I mean, just to get us ready for games or just about life in general. So I definitely would say, I mean, any of the speeches he always used to give us was definitely good. And, I mean, obviously just being somebody that we could learn life from during that time. So, I mean, it was a pleasure definitely just learning from Coach Ham and just being there at Florida State for 4 years. And, I mean, for me, I was going there since I was like in 8th or 9th grade just to see where it went from when I was going to high school to, I mean, where we got it to now. I mean, it's just crazy to see, but, I mean, that just goes all the credit to Coach Ham.
Well, Trent's mother is a minister, and I knew we were kind of leading on him, so I was sending his mother good gospel music for her to listen to to kind of sweeten the pot a little bit. Hey, Trent, I still send her music from time to time for her to listen to. So we got to be buddies. Matter of fact, Pastor Bolton is going to be performing for her and preaching for her pretty soon, and I'm going to make sure I make that trip over there on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I think she had brought that up to me not too long ago about him coming over there. So I'm sure he'll have a big fun time over in Chipley.
Well, tell us how things going with you over in Italy. Tell us what you're doing and how's your team doing. And do you get a chance to play against some of our players while you're over there?
Yeah, I mean, it's been good being over here. Obviously, we got a couple guys that are over here. We played against X. Me and him are in the same league, and same domestic league, too. So we played them, I think 3 times, and I think we got to play them maybe one more time before the season is over. I got to see Turk when I went to Greece. He came and watched the game, so it's definitely fun because, I mean, you still get to see your teammates from college over here and see that everybody's still doing well. And just our team, we're trying to make a playoff push right now to make the playoffs in EuroLeague and in our domestic league. So we kind of get into the second half of the season, so hopefully we'll be able to get some wins and make a push to get into the playoffs.
Well, congratulations on a great career over there, buddy. Keep playing well so you can get back to the NBA.
Yes, sir. That's the plan. Appreciate it, Coach.
Hey, and thank you, Trent. We know it's late over there, so we'll let you go. But again, a round of applause for Trent Forrest. Well, that was awesome. So great to hear right there. Again, Seminole Basketball, Inside Seminole Basketball is brought to you in part by Truist. When you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. So start feeling like it today. Visit Truist.com/care. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Truist Bank, member FDIC. Couple segments left here at Inside Seminole Basketball. Coming up next, you'll hear from our special guest again, Taylor Bowen. That and much more coming up after this break.
Seminole fans, this is Jeff Culhane, voice of Florida State men's basketball. Are you tired of sleeping hot? I was too. ChiliPad has a solution for that. ChiliPad works with your existing mattress. It's a temperature-regulated, water-based mattress topper that precisely controls your bed temperature from 55 degrees to 115 degrees. Who wouldn't want to have that at night? Visit www.sleep.me/Seminoles and see why ChiliPad bed cooling systems are the official bed cooling partner of Florida State Athletics. That's sleep.me/Seminoles. Welcome to Truist, the bank that starts with care, and the student banking partner of Florida State University. And now, Truist is the official retail bank of Florida State Athletics. They're proud to join a passionate fan base, empower our student athletes, and to support our community. Because when you start with care, you get a different kind of bank and a different kind of partnership. Thank you, Truist, for this exciting partnership with Florida State Athletics.
Around here, there's an undeniable spirit. It's like it's always been there. You just feel it. It energizes. It connects. It grows at every intersection in its path. And when met with our passion to win, well, it can be downright powerful. At Scott & Wallace, it's this spirit that fuels us. Scott & Wallace, the official law firm of the Florida State Seminoles.
Day Grill. And another shout out to Ava and Madison from Florida State. Cheer, thank you so much again, ladies, for welcoming us back. And now joined with our special guest this evening, Taylor Bowen. Let's get a round of applause for Taylor. Start off, how are you feeling right now? How we doing?
I'm well, man. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I got to ask, obviously you've been out the past couple of games. How eager are you to get back out there with your brothers on the floor?
I'm really excited. I think that we got a special opportunity coming up, and I'm really happy to get back out there.
Yeah, obviously you weren't out playing last game versus Notre Dame, but how good was it to see the guys bounce back and get a win?
It was good for us to finally get a win, get back in that win column. And I think it just shows that when we play the right way, you can beat anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to talk about your game a little bit, how you have grown now in your sophomore year. Were there areas in this offseason that you really worked on? Like, take us through what the behind the scenes of that growth and the work that you put in that no one else gets to see off the floor.
I put a lot of work in on my jump shot, shooting a lot every day, and then being able to knock down shots and just become a more complete player. Really. Better all around.
Yeah, what are some of those conversations like maybe with your coaches on how to improve or what you wanted to improve on coming into this season?
I think it was pretty obvious for me. It was just becoming better in a lot of different aspects, making sure that my body matured a little bit more, eating a little healthier, hitting more jump shots and shooting and just having more consistent work ethic.
Yeah, you're adding tools to the toolbox. One thing, of course, you mentioned the shooting, your three-point shooting, especially as of late. You made 14 in your last 8 games. You talk about your first 12 games this year. You only made 5, and you just talk about the progression, seeing it right there. How has that been when you're out there on the floor feeling a little bit more confident on how you shoot the 3 ball?
It's a blessing for sure. I got to give Coach Ham props to that. He pulled me in his office and it was like, yo, you got to shoot like how you shoot in practice and trust your work.
Yeah, you've been shooting it great, and it's fun to watch, and it feels like it's changing kind of how you are as a player. And we're talking a little bit offensively there, but what about defensively? Do you feel like where you've grown the most?
I think that I've always been very solid defensively, and I think that I've been blocking a lot of shots and just guarding the ball much better. I think that happens with maturity and being able to guard because my body's just a little bit more matured and able to see plays before it happens. Yeah,
how about how you feel or how you enjoy playing in this system under your head coach, Leonard Hamilton?
I really enjoy it. It's a blessing to be able to play under him and under the system and learning about it and becoming better and growing under it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got more with Taylor Bowen on the other side. I want to remind you, Inside Seminole Basketball is brought to you in part by Carver's. Carver's Discount Cleaners is mean on stains and green on earth. Try new Eco Green Dry Cleaning at Carver's Discount Cleaners, 1215 North Monroe Street in Midtown. So one more segment coming up with Taylor Bowen. We'll talk more about when he started to play basketball and how his game still is growing. Much more to come here on Inside Seminole Basketball.
Florida, home to pristine beaches, unique dining experiences, world-class accommodations, and the thrills that keep the young and young at heart coming back to the Sunshine State. From coast to coast, see what our 10,000 members of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association have been preparing for you. Exceptional eats, historic sites, and lodging to fit any budget. So whether you're here making deals or making memories, come get a flavor for Florida's finest restaurants.
Hey, Seminole fans, this is Jeff Culhane, voice of Florida State men's basketball. Are you tired of sleeping hot? I was too. ChiliPad has a solution for that. ChiliPad works with your existing mattress. It's a temperature-regulated, water-based mattress topper that precisely controls your bed temperature from 55 degrees to 115 degrees. Who wouldn't want to have that at night? Visit www.sleep.me/Seminoles and see why ChiliPad bed cooling systems are the official bed cooling partner of Florida State Athletics. That's sleep.me/ Welcome to Truist, the bank that starts with care, and the student banking partner of Florida State University. And now, Truist is the official retail bank of Florida State Athletics. They're proud to join a passionate fan base, empower our student athletes, and to support our community. Because when you start with care, you get a different kind of bank and a different kind of partnership. Thank you, Truist, for this exciting partnership with Florida State Athletics.
All right, still rocking and rolling and Inside Seminole Basketball live from Glory Days Grill. Still joined with Taylor Bowen. We're just talking a little bit about how your game has grown. Let's go all the way back to maybe when you started playing basketball. Take me back then when you first picked up and got into the game.
I've always played almost my whole life, and I always played up with my older brother, so that really helped me a lot because I was always like a smaller guy on the court, so that helped me with a lot of my guard skills. So I got to play guard, and all those guys were bigger and faster than me. So
yeah, you talk about guard skills. Well, now you're 6'10". When did that growth spurt happen for you?
It happened during my freshman year of high school. I just grew a lot. I was always pretty tall, but then I grew like 6 inches in the summer. So
just shot up. I was 5'4" when I entered high school. Now I'm 6'3" with shoes on. So that helps me a little bit. But sure. I see that. You mentioned your brother as well. Was he one of the any other mentors for you when you were first playing the game? Yeah, for sure. I learned a lot from him. Playing with him and his friends all the time. Playing him in the park. He was always my biggest rival. I hated losing to him and everything. And then I finally just got way taller than him. I just beat him. So yeah. Hey, it helps, absolutely, with the height. And you mentioned that, too, when you shot up. Do you feel like that's kind of even how you want to play the game now? We're talking guard skills, right? But also now with the height that you have, almost trying to combine the two a little bit in a way.
Yeah, it's just about being versatile. That's what Coach Ham has always taught over the years with other guys with my body, my makeup kind of. So I was really paid attention to that during my recruiting process. Yeah. So I knew that guys that were similar to me, and I just wanted to play similar to them. Yeah, and so a little bit outside of basketball here from Jericho, Vermont. And, a couple of weeks ago, we had snow. Unexpected here in Tallahassee. It threw me off. I'm a northerner still. Did not expect to come to Florida and see snow. Y'all were actually out on the West Coast for that. Were you a little bummed to miss the snow back here in Tallahassee? Very, yeah. I would have loved to go to slide into it. I think Coach Ham was happy I was here for that. No, absolutely. Talk about growing up in Vermont with the snow. You skier at all? Yeah, I used to ski when I was younger. I went cross-country skiing a bunch. A little bit of downhill, but I stopped because I was playing basketball, so it was a little bit dangerous. Yeah, I was going to say, how did that – yeah, how does that change as you shot up in height? Talking about skiing when you're small, does that make it more difficult? It's really not as hard as people think. No. They just don't grow up in the snow, so it's pretty easy, honestly. You just stay on your feet, stay low. Yeah, that's what I said to myself, though, first, Taylor, and I ended up on the snow. So I'll use that the next time I find myself on the slopes. But, Taylor, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. That's Taylor Bowen. Another round of applause. Thank you. For joining us here on Inside Seminole Basketball. I want to remind you all, again, brought to you in part by Grassroots Coffee. Florida State Athletics would like to thank Grassroots Coffee for their support of Florida State basketball. Order from Grassroots Coffee for your home or business today at grassrootscoffee.com or find it at a store, restaurant, or coffee shop near you. Grassroots Coffee, made for everyone, loved everywhere. All right, one more segment coming up. We'll wrap everything up with head coach Leonard Hamilton here on Inside Seminole Basketball. Back after this timeout.
Around here, there's an undeniable spirit. It's like it's always been there. You just feel it. It energizes. It connects. It grows at every intersection in its path. And when met with our passion to win, well, it can be downright powerful. At Scott & Wallace, it's this spirit that fuels us. Scott & Wallace, the official law firm of the Florida State Seminoles.
Florida, home to pristine beaches, unique dining experiences, world-class accommodations, and the thrills that keep the young and young at heart coming back to the Sunshine State. From coast to coast, see what our 10,000 members of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association have been preparing for you. Exceptional eats, historic sites, and lodging to fit any budget. So whether you're here making deals or making memories, come get a flavor for Florida's finest restaurants and
Hey Seminole fans, this is Jeff Culhane, voice of Florida State men's basketball. Are you tired of sleeping hot? I was too. ChiliPad has a solution for that. ChiliPad works with your existing mattress. It's a temperature-regulated water-based mattress topper that precisely controls your bed temperature from 55 degrees to 115 degrees. Who wouldn't want to have that at night? Visit www.sleep.me/Seminoles and see why ChiliPad bed cooling systems are the official bed cooling partner of Florida State Athletics. That's sleep.me/.
All right, welcome back in as we wrap up the show here in Glory Days Grill. Jack Kavovit, head coach, Leonard Hamilton, of course. Glory Days, the host location of Inside Seminole Basketball. You step in on Monday nights during basketball season from 7 to 8 p.m. for an all-star selection of food, drinks, and to hear from Florida State basketball players and staff. So thank you, Glory Days, for being the host location of Inside Seminole Basketball this season. And, Coach, 2 minutes left for us to wrap up this show here tonight. Well, I want to look ahead a little bit more of what's to come. Of course, Wake Forest coming up, but you look at your two opponents, and we'll see the schedule. The next two games is 2 out of the top 4 in the ACC. Of course, you're just focused on the next one, but when you see the remainder of the schedule, you're talking about some magic. You still feel that ending here on this season.
Well, this is an important period for us, and you have a unique opportunity to get a play against opponents that are ranked higher. And so these games represent a unique opportunity for us, and now it's just left up to us to go take advantage of it.
Yeah, and you see your schedule, the remainder, it has the highest opponent win percentage out of any other team right now in the ACC. So it's a tough one, but of course not discouraged at all. This is where you want to be, and this is where you want to climb.
Well, if we're going to have something positive to relate to once the season's over, we need to take advantage of this period of time. And even though these teams are ranked higher, every game you play in the ACC, you got to be at your best. If you're not, something bad can happen. So it doesn't really matter who you play. It's more about you. And so we're anxious to go see whether or not we can give our full effort and execute the things that we have to do in order to win the games. And a lot of the teams, the better teams in our league are older, more mature teams who've been together for a period of time. And most of us are kind of new and find our way, but it doesn't matter when the game starts. No one's going to be saying, let's take a light on them because they don't have a lot of veterans on the team.
Nope.
It doesn't work that way.
It don't work that way. Well, Coach, thank you so much. We're rushing off right here. Head coach Leonard Hamilton. It's Inside Seminole Basketball. I'm Jack Kavovit saying so long and go Noles.